thank the wonderful Mr. Andy Bell.
Good afternoon. Lovely to be here.
Doesn't he look great? Yeah. You know what? I was going to save this for later, but I know that Stephen threw you the big 6-0 party in Spain. Your birthday was back on April 25th.
Yeah, last year. So, and the year's just flown by so quickly. You all know, and it's going to be April again so soon.
Yeah, I know, and I figured you're still in that window of your birthday year, right? When you're born, you're not 0, right? It's your first year, so you're still in your 60th year, I guess. And I did this. I guess it was 3 years ago. Do you remember when ABC was here? Martin Fry. It was his birthday, and I had the crowd sing happy birthday to him. I think we should sing happy birthday to Andy Bell. Don't you? All right. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Woo. Happy birthday to you. Woo. Happy birthday, dear Andy.
Happy birthday to you.
There you go. All right. Thank you. How about that?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You deserve that. You deserve that. Yeah. I think we also have a birthday present for you. Where is that? Yeah. We got the towel. Yeah, here. Oh, this is Tim Riley. Okay. So you want to just open it up? Oh, you're going to bring it right up. This is Tim Riley. If you remember WLIR, he's a big fan of LIR. LIR? Yeah. What do you got there, Tim? Oh, it's Mrs. Duck. Oh, my God. Poof. Cue the wife. Suzanne the Duck, sorry. So because of your place in Miami Beach, this is a beach towel for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. LIR person.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
I was going to wait till later to do this, but I figured, what the hell? It's my agenda, right? I can do whatever I want. All right, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne the Duck, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess this is a good segue to, you can blame me on this one. So they asked me, Joey Fairchild is the production director, and his crew, you got to give it for the crew. You know, they do a great job of keeping us, like DC over there. So he said to me about 4 or 5 months ago, what do you want to do on the cruise? I said, well, I want to interview Andy. He said, done. He said, you know, we did this 6 years ago. It was called the Newlywed Game. So they called it the Marriage Game. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I believe here in Studio B, it's going to be you and Stephen, me and Suzanne, and it'll be downtown Julie Brown and her husband Martin, and we're basically doing the Newlywed Game here tomorrow. So if this goes south, blame me. Anyway, so you excited for that?
I'm very excited, but I have to say you've got a slight advantage on me because you've been married 32 years, I gather, with your wife. And I've been together with Stephen for 15 years, and we were apart for a year and a half during the COVID era. So it's kind of, I'm sure you know a lot more about your wife than I do about my Stephen.
Well, when he asks the questions, and there'll be no HR violation questions in the thing at all, but we think, you know, but it's fun. It's all good. And I think you got to put your back to each other, and they give you a chalkboard.
All right.
Now, he is performing on Saturday. Two shows, 6 o'clock, and that'll be in the Palace, the big theater, and at 6:15 and 9 o'clock. I'm doing this from memory. So, but there'll be 5 of us that will bring you on. It's the one magical time where it's Julie and Mark and Alan and Lori and myself. So we'll have fun with that.
Fabulous.
All right. So, how you been? All right?
I'm fine, yeah. You know, I've kind of, this year's flown by. We've been busy promoting the we
new
have
album?
a new record, coming out in May. And I've visited with Vince. He's a little bit in hiding, my Vince, but I visited twice with him and we've been writing, but we don't know what's in store yet. But next year is our 40th anniversary of ERASURE.
40th anniversary of ERASURE. And I'm sure they will plan something big and grand for the 40th, of course. We'll talk about Vince in a little bit. Let's talk about your new album that's coming out May 2nd. It's called 10 Crowns. So, David O'Day produced it. He's a remixer that has worked with U2, Katy Perry, Madonna. How do you two come together to do this solo album?
Apparently he's worked for everybody that's in the charts, you know, but we got together through Stephen, my partner. I met him in a nightclub. He was a nightclub owner and I was the hired help for the evening in the club. And he was right, you know, his partner wanted me to go and perform at the club, and it was a kind of 80s type evening, and he said, no, our crowd's way too young to know who Andy is, you know. So, and he was right because there wasn't that many people there. So but we went out for dinner and something just clicked, you know, and I lost track. Sorry.
You went to dinner and you decided he's producing.
Yeah, so anyway, Stephen knows all the DJs. He knows all the DJs, and he'd had Dave come in a couple of times to spin for him, and he said, well, Dave is a bit of he loves you. He's a bit of a fan of Erasure, and his favourite album was Wild, the album, and there's a song on Wild called Blue Savannah, which is, you know, that's one of my favourite songs as well. And I feel I kind of describe myself as a singer's singer, because I like melody and I love the old-fashioned kind of Roy Orbison and Buddy Holly and, you know, all these kind of crooner type people. So he said, why don't you get together with Dave and see if you can come up with a song? So I went to see him in LA, and his family had just began with his wife Gretchen, who's on board now, and they have 3 children, and they were so small when I was in the studios at Dave's house, and they came and they were knocking on the glass window trying to come into the studio, and I felt so bad because they're like 5 years old, and Dave was saying, no, go away, like, to his children, you know? So anyway, but we started writing, and you know, we did some writing with Meghan Trainor. We sang a song by Nicole Scherzinger. So we're just doing all this stuff. And one of the songs that came out that we'd written was called "Don't You Know," and it's our new single now. But it was written those 12 years ago, and it was kind of written. I just picked up the mic with Dave's instrumentation and wrote some rough lyrics down on a piece of paper and sang through twice on this Shure mic with a lead, and that's the vocal that we used that's on the song now. So we just carried on writing over this period off and on, and we had 2 Billboard dance #1s with The Aftermath and True Original, and we just carried on writing. So Dave had moved his family to Nashville because it was cheaper than living in LA, and there's amazing musicians living there, and they're going to be performing with us on the stage on Saturday. And yeah, we just carried on writing. So we've got about 18 songs, 10 of which are going to be on the new album.
Excellent. So 10 Crowns. So you mentioned it's very melodic, Don't You Know? There are 2 songs that I found on YouTube from the forthcoming album. The melodic one, Don't You Know? The dance one, Through the Interstellar.
Through the Interstellar.
Yeah, which I subtitled At 36,000 Feet. I think. If you listen to the lyric.
Is that a rocket?
Well, it will be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the new album, when you put out the new album, so Vince Clarke actually bought a record store in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
What about the idea of doing like, remember in the old days, you'd put out an album, then you do the whole promotion, you go to a record store and you'd show up. Wouldn't it be cool if you went to Vince's record store to do like a release party or something like that?
It would be very cool. It would be very cool, but I don't think we're going to be in Brooklyn at that time.
Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah, we already have things planned in May in London. I'm afraid, but I would love to go there and do an in-store. But I remember, doing HMV and those kind of Virgin and those kind of big stores before they closed down. It was so much fun because you got to pick whichever records you wanted to in the store. So it was like being a kid in a candy shop. You go out like this.
And records are heavy too.
They're really heavy.
Very heavy. I had to lug them around club by club by club, so yeah, that's why my back hurts.
Well.
So it's interesting. You're right. You're going on tour in England in May.
Yeah.
You're doing Germany in June. Now, you are coming to North America.
We are. I mean, there are things penciled in grey at the moment, but they're waiting to be ticked.
Okay. So I'm going to revise the idea. When you come to North America, get a New York date,
Yep.
and we'll do the record store idea.
We'll do.
All right?
Yeah.
Deal. You got that, right? Deal. I was born in Brooklyn, too, so love that, yeah. Let's talk about Vince. So Vince, you've been back. Well, let me back up a little bit. Sad tragedy, his wife, Tracy Hurley, passed away. Tracy Hurley, by the way, was the publicist for Prince, The Cure, Depeche Mode, George Michael, I'm doing this by memory, which is scary. And she sadly passed away of cancer a little over a year ago. And I know he's healing. How's he doing now?
Well, it's when any one of your friends goes through a huge tragedy like that, it was the same. I mean, my former partner passed away just when I met Stephen at the same time, so I was very lucky because I had support from a new partner. But Vincent hasn't got that. He's on his own. So, and I just, I would say we're really, really close, like a family. We're like a family. And, we met up each other in New York, and I went to see him in his new place, which is quite far from New York. So, he opened up. He's a very difficult guy to get to open up, but he opened up to me, and that's probably only one of 3 times that he's showed his true feelings, So it's going to take a while, and all you can do is just be there for those people, and that's it. I mean, that's it,
So sad. And yet you've started the writing process with Vince. You've been with him, you're starting the collaboration, the healing is starting. And for the 40th, do you think we'll have a new album? Is it in the new year?
I can't promise that there will be one, but we have started writing together, and so far we've got some really interesting material, but it's going to be quite difficult to translate our emotions and what Vince has been going through into music at the moment without having it being really maudlin and sad, so we want to make it into something beautiful, really, so we just have to ride with the universe, whatever's going on,
You said translate.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. You speak 5 languages?
Not 5, no, I would say 3.
3?
Oh, yeah.
He's learning. Hence all the more.
Yes, it's Olamore. I didn't realise we were talking about it on our last writing session, Vince and I said to him, I've been telling people how generous you were, because he had already written the first album when I joined him, because he was, you all know, he was in Depeche Mode and then Yaz, and then I went and joined with Vince, and I really was a huge fan of his, so I couldn't believe we were in the studio for 6 months during recording Wonderland, and I couldn't believe it was him. So I was just sitting there staring at him the whole time, like not saying a word, and he probably thought, oh, who's this freak? But we slowly, the ice melted, you know, and it came to this one song called Oh L'Amour, and he didn't know, Vince was thinking, oh, what should I call this song? There you go. And he was thinking, what should I call this song? And I said, well, why don't you call it Oh L'Amour? It sounds really good, you know. He was like, okay, we'll do that then. So, and I thought he'd given me 50% of the writing, which he did. But then he told me, oh no, you didn't realise you wrote the intro to that song with all the choir. That la 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 la, the background vocals to the intro. So there you go. You know, it was maybe worth 25.
Well, to put his career in perspective, you've done over 200 songs with Erasure, and you've sold over 25 million records.
Well, yeah, it's the thing I love about being in Erasure, mostly, you know, and doing other things as well, is just Vince kind of started from scratch really when we first come together, because Wonderland wasn't an overnight sensation or anything. He kind of started over from scratch. So we were driving around in the UK in a van and going to these nightclubs and dressed up as cowboys and doing this PA and this stupid little dance to Who Needs Love Like That, which was our first single. But we got no radio airplay, only on certain stations, and like in Australia and France and things like that, which was really bizarre, you know. So yeah, Vince sort of stuck by me. So I think to have sold 25 million over 40 years has let me keep my feet on the ground as much as you can. Being a pop musician, you know, it's quite difficult, but I think without Vince I would have gone off a long time ago. You know,
well, there's a saying, to know where you're going you have to remember where you came from, right? So you were in a band called The Vibe, and Vince put an ad in Melody Maker looking for a singer after Yaz broke up. What was that like, auditioning for Vince?
Well, it was quite strange. I mean, I had already thought to myself, maybe I should write a letter to Vince Clarke, because I was a huge fan of Yaz, and I thought maybe I should write Vince Clarke a letter and see if he needs a new singer for the band. And then on that same time when I was thinking of that, I saw this little advert in the music paper, and it said, established songwriter looking for versatile singer. And I thought, oh, that's me. I'm a versatile. I'm a versatile singer. So, and to be honest, I didn't even know how to hold the microphone properly. You know, I kind of practiced with the hairbrush and stuff like that. You know, but then I thought, well, and then I phoned up the number, and they said, we can't find, sorry, we're fully booked, but if we don't find anybody, we'll ring you back. So I thought, oh, well, you know, nobody's going to ring back. But then they did, they called back, and they said, can you come in? It was on Monday. They said, can you come in this afternoon or something? And it's for Vince Clarke. And I was like, what? You know? And I just thought, this is like a bit spooky, you know, but I thought, well, I'll go down there and because I'd seen Vince Clarke. I'd been to another audition years ago, and I'd seen him when he was in Depeche Mode, and he was on the Space Invader machine with his big fringe hanging down, you know. And I thought, oh, that's Vince Clarke. So he was kind of lodged in my mind. So I thought I'd really enjoy myself on that day. So I had an orange and a brown umbrella. And I went to the audition, and I was the second from last person of 43 people. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to really enjoy myself, you know. So I went in there, and then the next day, they said, oh, hi, this is Mute Records. We're phoning to see if you would like the job with Vince Clarke. And I said, yes, of course I would, you know. And then they said, well, he's going to be a bit busy for 6 months, so we'll put you on a retainer for £150 a week while you're waiting. So I said, yeah, fine, that's lovely, thank you. And so then I went and had my first ever holiday abroad and went to Ibiza. So
That's great. Andy and I did an interview. If you go to the 80s Cruise, there's a podcast we did an interview a couple of months ago. You have played, to me, the greatest venue in the world, Madison Square Garden in New York City, 3 times. 3 times. I don't know if you remember this night. It was June 24th, 1987. You opened for Duran Duran.
Yes.
And it's the only show I ever hosted at Madison Square Garden. And when I think of memories, that will go to my grave.
Wow.
Because to stand on that stage, the Mecca, and you look out and you go, this is what Mick Jagger sees. This is unbelievable. Right? Yeah. But playing that stage, tell them what it feels like.
It's a huge place, but it's such a strange experience, you know. And when you're supporting as well for another band, because you're always, I mean, it makes you twice as nervous because you're a fan of the band anyway, and it's kind of like the same thing happened with David Bowie, supporting David Bowie, which we did like two times, I think. But we went onto the stage with Duran, and I had this kind of big hoop that I don't know where I got it from. It was this big hoop. It was like one of those photographers' hoop that you kind of, a shield that you hold up for the sunlight kind of thing. But I got one and then made it into a little dress and pulled it up, and like had this hoop and like. But I used it as kind of like a ballet improvisation dress type thing, you know. And went on the stage, and the crowd were just going wild, like all these young girls, you know. And the same thing happened with David Bowie when we went on stage, and they're going, woo, like this. And I was just this young kid with like loads of bravado, you know. And I thought it was just incredible, honestly. You know, I couldn't. I mean, talk about baptism of fire, you know. It was incredible.
And that tour with Duran Duran really pushed you up in terms of being a duo on the road. And then you go to the other side of it, the smaller venues, right? And when you put out your first solo album in 2005, you played Irving Plaza in New York City, and I hosted that show. And it's interesting, Irving Plaza is like the dressing room was like a closet, first of all. And then you go up 3 steps and you're on the stage, which is different than playing the Garden. But that night, you said to me, Larry, Vince is in the crowd. You got to tell the crowd that Vince is in the crowd. And when I did, I said, well, we got Erasure in the house. And the place, went like that. So do you remember that night? It was a very special night.
I can't remember exactly that night.
That's all right.
I have to say, but
I do.
But you do remember the smaller places, though, because I don't know, for some reason, because they're so teeny, and it's like playing the 933 Club in Washington DC or something, or the 930, yeah, which I don't know if it's still open. I'm not sure. Oh, it's still open, but I'm sure it's a similar thing where the roof is like this above your head on the stage, and you literally have to crouch to kind of get on the stage, you know. So those places are like warrens, aren't they? Those, yeah.
And you've collaborated with a lot of artists. That first album that you did, you had Claudia Brucken from Propaganda, who's like one of my favorite vocalists. The German band Propaganda, you know? Yeah. What was it like working with her?
Claudia, well, she's lovely. She is very Marlene Dietrich, you know. But I mean, her ideas. I mean, when you listen to that first Propaganda album, which was produced by Trevor Horn. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. You know, you hear it now. I know it's on some advert in the UK for like Peugeot or something like that, but the music is incredible. It sounds incredible, and I think for her to be a German, it's the same like ABBA singing in her non-native tongue, singing in English or writing in English. These like words that I would never think of in a million years. You know, it's amazing.
And when you said Trevor Horn, I got this thought. So Trevor Horn was on this cruise, the 80s cruise, a few years ago.
Wow.
He was the bass player for the Dire Straits tribute band.
God.
And I'm like, I forgot he even played bass, because you think of him as a great producer and such, too. And I've interviewed a few times Alison Moyet, who's always been so complimentary to you. And I know you're good friends.
Yeah.
Good friends.
Yeah.
And I thought for some reason that when Yaz did that reunion tour 25 years after, I know you were supportive of Vince doing that, but I know you were a big Yaz fan too. Did you push to to put them out there to do that?
I didn't push. No, I
Yes.
was a huge Yaz fan. That's why I was so nervous when I first started working with Vince, because we were trying to think of names as well for the band. You know, we're thinking like Vince and Andy, the Water Babies, like these really terrible names. You know, and then we thought, oh, Yaz 2. No, that's not going to work, you know. So, and then in the beginning, when the reviews came in from Wonderland, they were saying, "Oh, I sounded like a half-baked Alison Moyet," you know. I was like, "Oh, you cheeky bee," you know. But it just took me a while to kind of come into my own sound and my own voice, you know. So, but I don't think. I mean, I would love to sing with Alison. But I would not like a sing-off with Alison because she would win.
Yeah, she just started her tour, too. She just put out her 10th album called Key. And I'm watching the clock because what we're going to do format-wise, we have a mic over here. So if you want to line up, he's agreed to do Q&A because I got a lot of questions here. But I think you would all like to ask some questions, so the mic's over there. And also I'm going to stop at 45 minutes into this because he will stay in the back. If you want to like take a photo or have him sign, is that cool with you? Yeah. Cool. I do have to ask you this question because in terms of collaborations and in terms of writing and the process, you know, I remember the Edge from U2 once said in an interview, it's one thing to write a song and it makes people feel happy. It's another to write a song and it brings you joy, especially when you're not feeling well, and sometimes music does heal. And I think, you know what? I think of a song like A Little Respect, Chains of Love, right? So the way you start the vocal and then boom, 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 da, 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 and seeing you on stage. I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing you on Saturday perform, but you know what I'm saying about the joy? I mean, when you write a song, it just brings so much joy to people.
Well, I can honestly say that I haven't taken any drugs or any drink or anything, and I'm completely high now just by being here. And you know, that's exactly the same feeling that you have when you're on the stage. It's such an honour, and I think, you know, when you're here, we all have a reason that we're here for, and for me, I love singing, and I just want to lift people up with the singing, and hope everybody feels better with the music, you know. That's it.
He's great on stage, charismatic, fun, and a great voice. So let's go to our first question. Hi, what's your name?
Michael. He knows me from the 80s in the Sun. You know, the hat and the jacket.
Hi, Michael.
Okay, well, okay, this is like usually a two-part question. First of all, how did the members of ABBA react to your ABBA-esque record? And when I saw you on stage, there were two dancers backing you up.
Yeah.
Were they male or female?
In answer to your first question, I've never ever met any members of ABBA. I've seen their avatars like 3 times live on stage. And then I found out that I live in this little village in Spain as well with my partner, and unbeknownst to us, Frida lives in the same village as well.
No kidding.
Yeah, and she's been living there since the 1970s, and we still haven't met. And then to your question number 2, we've had a mixture of ladies, men, drag queens, all kinds of people dancing for us, so.
It was really hard to tell on that show.
Yeah, you can never tell. Sometimes I don't even know who I am, so.
Well, I guess the group was happy with the money from ABBA-esque.
Thank you for the question, thank you. I guess that does dovetail into influences. Like, who did you listen to growing up?
Wow, well, I love electronic music. Before that, my parents, they had a wide range of taste. You know, they loved country music, so they had Buddy Holly, Elvis, Slim Whitman, Charlie Pride, all these country people. And then also Phil Spector, the Ronettes, Motown, which I love. So it was this whole wide range of music. But then when I first started listening to or buying my own music, it was mostly electronic. So bands like Japan and Human League and Blondie and Soft Cell and all these kind of, yeah.
David Sylvian. Yeah,
David Sylvian.
Oh my God.
I always thought it would be amazing if David Sylvian and Debbie Harry had a baby.
Do you know Debbie's turning 80 on July 1st?
Yes.
And she looks great. I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't look like she's 80. She doesn't act like she's 80.
She's amazing. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's my mentoress in pop. You know, and she's an incredible lady. I've met her about 5 times. I love her.
Oh, okay. Next question. Hello, hi. What's your name? Oh, Lori Majewski. Give it up for Lori Majewski. This is the journalist in Lori right now.
I just cut in front of Ziva because I wanted to ask about Debbie Harry's on your new record.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Well, this has been a dream come true for me. As I say, you know, she's my only ever one. Well, she's my pop goddess, you know. So I kind of literally fell into her. That sounds a bit bad, but by staring at her picture in you know, the gatefold sleeve of Parallel Lines and Eat to the Beat, and I just was in love with her. You know, just kind of, you could not help it. You know, and she helped me, like, going through high school. I bought my first packet of hair bleach and dyed my hair blonde. You know, and from that moment, I never looked back. You know, and it was like, and I owe it to Debbie just for kind of giving me this confidence. So to be able to actually have her on your own song is just beyond belief. You know?
Tell us the name of the song again.
It's called Heart's a Liar.
Heart's a Liar. I thought that was the most Debbie title ever.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, I was really touched by when you were saying how you and Vince, you were helping Vince and you were letting him talk and go through things. My favorite music, well, I love all of Erasure's music, but I'm obsessed with the Snow Globe album.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the reason I am is because you have the melancholy side of the holidays. Everyone else does the jingle bells, and what you do is you go into the depths of the darkness and the melancholy. And so I wanted to just, if you do go in the direction of exploring the darkness, Vince has told me time and again that his favorite music is, it sounds happy melodically, but lyrically it actually can be a little sadder. So I didn't want you, as an Erasure fan, I know that you think we just want to dance all the time, and we do. But I think one of the most beautiful things you do, and you do it on Blue Savannah, is that you express beauty of melody and emotion. So don't block that out.
No, I won't. I promise you, we won't. We're not going to block that out. That's such a lovely thing to say, because, you know, I really love that kind of the melancholia. I love that, you know, and there is a certain sadness in everything. You know, in life, there's a certain sadness,
especially at this age.
You know.
Through death.
It's true, you know, and we kind of, you know, I don't know, to embrace it is like when we did the Snow Globe album, I just love the feeling of the, you know, when you're freezing cold and the snow it's all wet and clammy and you just can't wait to get indoors, and just the nights are so dark.
When you sing the snow on snow on snow, that line stays with me all winter. I don't just listen to it at Christmas, I listen to it all winter long.
Well, thank you so much.
I've taken up so much time, but I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori Majewski. And Lori's one of the 5 that'll bring you up on stage on Saturday at 6:15, 9 o'clock, too. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Ziva from San Diego.
Oh, 91X, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And wanted to ask questions I'd like to know the answers to are, do you remember where you were and how you felt when you first heard yourself on the radio, and what you bought with your first check?
Sorry, what was the second
Two
part?
que-
Yeah.
Well, the second part was your first check. What did you do with your first
Yep.
check? But when you heard yourself on the radio for the first time?
I can't remember hearing myself on the radio, but I remember hearing myself in this one pub where I used to go to, which was called The Bell, the pub. But it was kind of this gay, slightly political pub that we went to, and I remember just walking in the door, and then the DJ said, "And here's Who Needs Love Like That" by Erasure, and I just walked in the door, and all of a sudden I thought like, oh, what do I do now? Do I sort of do I do a little dance, or you know?
Then the second part is, what did you do with your first paycheck?
I can't remember with the exact first paycheck, but I do know that I was living with my then partner in a little basement studio, so we bought our first apartment together. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Diana.
Hello, Diana.
And I guess this is my husband's birthday year still. He dragged me 1,000,000 miles away just to get a selfie and an autograph. Please, please, or I'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And Andy has agreed to stay in the back as they change the stage, and we'll do that in about 10 minutes from now. Thank you so much. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Suzanne. I'm from Texas. And Lori brought up Snow Globe, and Silent Night is like my newest favorite version of Silent Night. It's so beautiful. And Blue Savannah. Hopefully you're singing that. I am a Durante, and y'all brought it up.
Yep.
Do you have any good stories from that tour that you can share with us?
I don't know if you heard this one, but I just remember being so excited because Yasmin was there, Yasmin Le Bon, and we had the closest caravan to the stage, so she said, "Do you mind if I come and have a wee in your caravan?" So I was like, "No, please, come in, you know, so I'm very proud to say that Yasmin Le Bon did her business in our.
And you were very gracious to share your caravan with Yasmin, so thank you.
Do you remember what your favorite tour was and who you toured with? Was there one in particular?
I think I have to say that my favourite tour with other people was True Colours. So that was with Cyndi Lauper, B-52s, Debbie Harry, you know, Joan Jett. That was incredible.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Bernie from Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Hey, Bernie.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Canada's in the house, yes.
Just got a quick question, but I know you and Vince are all very, very busy professionally, and I have the distinct pleasure of being able to see Alison Moyer in concert next month in my hometown.
Fantastic.
I was just wondering if there's any chance in the future of you and Vince and Alison together going on the road, bringing back Erasure, yes.
Well, in my mind, I would say probably a 67% chance of that.
I'm not a math major, but I think you know what he said, right? 67. But it's a great idea, though, if you think about it, right? The three of you? Very cool. Yeah. Hi, sir. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name's Greg. I'm from Southern California, Orange County.
Yeah. K-Rock. K-Rock.
K-Rock. That's how I got into this music. Okay, I want to be brief. I'm a singer, and my band sings a lot of songs K-Rock inspired, but we do Erasure songs. And of all the voices I know, you're my favorite. And I believe, and I've thought about it, you know, all these people here, you guys are music analysts, okay? And I think about this all the time. Who is who is the most amazing voice that I like, that I listen to? And it's you. You have the greatest range. It's unbelievable.
Thank you, sir.
And I wanted to get to say that to you directly. And then I wanted to ask you, I want to be sensitive.
Yeah.
We sing Erasure, and we're going to be singing here tomorrow night. Is it okay if I sing Au L'Amour tomorrow night?
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to, would you come and see us? He's not going to come up and waste his time with it. But would you, if you could be here and watch me sing your song?
Well, if you let me know what time you're going on and stuff like that.
That would be the most amazing thing I've ever had.
Wow. Thank you.
So yeah, you're the greatest. I love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know you take it for granted, but your vocal range is wide, and you do have such a unique sounding voice. And I know when you mentioned touring with the B-52s, I remember like watching Cindy and Kate warm up their voice, and they would go like into a shower area and they'd start like, oh, how do you warm up your voice? You know, as a singer, asking a singer, how do you get, because it's a muscle, right? It's like you got to work it out. How do you get to that range?
Well, it does take like a few days to kind of get it, back in shape, kind of thing. It's a bit like running up the stairs, I suppose, But yeah, you kind of, I don't know. It's like being a chef, maybe, where you just have to whip up the egg whites or something. It sounds funny, but you have to get it creamy and sounding nice. So you have to loosen it up. Yeah, basically. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a light switch, you turn it on, turn it off. I mean, it takes time to prepare to get to that level. So, yes, sir. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Greg also. Greg also from Los Angeles as well. But I'm Greg with 2 G's. Greg with 2 G's, one on either end.
Yeah.
So my...
I'm changing my name to Greg with 3 G's.
Oh, you can have that's too many G's. So my question is about your inspirations, and specifically, decades ago when I saw you, Vince had mentioned that you had selected the costumes for that show. You dressed yourself up as a cowboy and Vince as a cactus.
Yep.
And so I'm curious where these inspirations come from, specifically the cactus.
Honestly, the inspiration comes from anywhere. It comes from like old movies, like The Blue Angel with Marlene Dietrich. That's the second time I've mentioned her now. But also, like, it could come from a puppet show, like those puppet tunes. I don't know if you remember those films with the little. They did. Frosty the Snowman and the not Bambi, the reindeer. Who's Frosty? Rudolph. Sorry. So it comes. Cute. Yeah, it's from all those fantasy things that the costumes come from. And in the UK, we have this thing called pantomime every Christmas, which is all people get dressed up like beyond the nines, for the stage. Yeah.
Well, I think Vince was delighted with the cactus.
Yeah, he loved it. Yeah. He loves it. Like anything where he can just stand there. he loves it. Yeah.
So in the interest of time, I'm going to allow you 5 to be the last 5. Is that
great.
okay? Okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Daniel from New Mexico. My favorite by far. Your voice, best voice. Your music has been the soundtrack to my life since I was 14 years old. I've seen you this will be 8 times now. Anyway, by the way, tell Vince we love him.
I will.
I want to know what it's like to be a role model, because you were there when I came out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What it's like to be a role model for people like me, and did you know that was going to be life, and
well,
what do you feel about all that?
I kind of felt like at the time that I did not want to lie. I did not want to try and pull the wool over people's eyes and say, no, I'm straight, and just do all this pretense for MTV and whatever. I just wanted to be like who I was. And just wearing my heart on my sleeve and putting that into the songs, and then making sure there was no mistake who I was when you were on the stage and people come to see you. So, and with that comes a certain amount of responsibility, towards young people. And, that was when people used to write letters, and we had some great. I love hearing people's stories about how the music's affected them and stuff, and even going on tour, going on the coach, going to a little place, I don't know where, like in Dakota or somewhere like that, and having people lining up outside and saying, hey Andy, gay pride, we love you. And it just breaks my heart with these people, so thank you.
I can't thank you enough for what you've been to me.
Thank you. We should mention, too, that you do a lot of charity work. What's your favorite charity?
I think the one that I support the most in the UK is the Terence Higgins Trust, he was one of the first people to die of HIV/AIDS related illness in the UK. So, you know, I think it's just really, really important that we support people and let people have access to the medicine that they need, you know?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm from Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida.
It was about several years ago. You did a cover of "Amateur Hour" by Sparks. That was did on one of their on their album Plagiarism. I was wondering how that came about.
Well, that was, you know, I've been a huge Sparks fan. I think Vince is probably even bigger fan than I am. And they just asked us if we wanted to take part in this album of cover versions of theirs. And Vince chose Amateur Hour. You know, I would have chosen something else, but he chose Amateur Hour, so that's what we did. That was it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The two brothers, Ron and Russell Hale.
Yeah.
They got a new album coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, the Sparks' new album's coming out soon. Hi, sir.
Larry. Hi,
Hi.
Andy.
Hello.
Oh my God, I'm still stuck right now. You have no idea.
Hi.
Okay, George, born in New York City. I live in Miami right now.
Yeah.
My very first erasure. Oh, first of all, on behalf of everybody, thank you for coming on this cruise. Finally. My very first Erasure concert was back in 1992 when you did the Phantasmagorical tour. Oh my Lord, that tour, that concert was absolutely fantastic. The ABBA thing.
Oh yeah.
And getting to see Vince dance to Willy Voo, that was priceless. Do you have any interesting stories to tell about that tour?
I mean, that was the longest tour we ever did. I mean, we were on tour for probably about a year and a half. I'm not sure what happened to all the equipment of the tour. I've got half the costumes are in Spain in the basement, but on that tour, the back of the stage, I don't know if you remember all the opening and closing doors, they were designed by H.R. Geiger, the guy that did the Aliens. He made the Aliens, so that's one fact. And also our choreographer from the tour, he's on board here today. His name's Les Child, and he'll be doing our placements for the show on Saturday. So
yeah, and to dovetail, thank you so much for your question.
Looking forward to your show and give my best to
Thank you very much. Thank you.
When they do the reveal on the first night of the cruise last year, when they announced you were playing, the place went nuts. Just went really nuts. So I'm glad that you asked that question. Hi, sir. How are you?
One of the reasons why I'm here too.
That's why you're here, because of Andy Bell.
Yeah. So I'm Dave. Back in the early '90s, I was in college. You know, coming out. Religious family, depressed, suicidal.
Yeah.
And I would put that Innocence album on my Sony Walkman and go just running out for the night barefoot. And there was no template for a guy like me, other than suicide.
Yeah.
And that album is one of the reasons why I'm still here.
You look beautiful, and I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I all know, the pink elephant in the room, we had a tragedy here on the first night of the cruise, and I said the next morning to the crowd, I said, look, whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling low, and you're not even feeling well, music heals. It really does. The power of music brings you back and makes you so uplifting that you don't want to do anything bad or wrong, and that story just kind of hit a nerve, so. All right, two more questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Greg from Ann Arbor, Michigan, for the Michigan folks here around. We saw you with my girlfriend at the time, but just now my wife for 31 years.
Yeah.
Drugged me off to one of your concerts for Gasmatoria.
Oh, yeah.
And you came out on stage in the Swan.
Oh, yeah.
With the boa.
Oh, yeah.
And I had no idea what to expect. And after that moment, I was like, I'm all in. I want to go on this ride. So we came back and saw you again when you came back for the Star Tour, and it's been fantastic. So thanks for all the many years of entertainment. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And here we go, the final question from the audience. How are you?
Hi, my name is Deanna. I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee. I'm here with my best friend since 7th grade, Carrie. We grew up in Vancouver, Washington. She's a super fan. Our first show we saw was in Portland, Oregon at the Civic Auditorium. We want to know, do you still have the inflatable snails that you had relations with on stage?
Well, I have to be honest and say I have no idea where Brian the Snail is. So,
Or do you? Okay.
That was cool. Yeah, what do you do with all your props? What do you store them somewhere?
be honest, there are people that are stage prop collectors, or they buy stages. You know, once the tour's finished, people buy the stage. I mean, we don't get the money, but I don't know where it goes. I don't know where it goes, you know, but apparently there are people that own stages that...
Yeah. So, because I want to give you all time with Andy, I do want to mention that his new solo album is coming out on May 2nd. It's called 10 Crowns. It is the first time it's on your own label.
Yes.
Your own label.
Yep. Yeah, it just happened that we got our knickers in a twist, as we say in the UK, contractually wise. So we decided the easiest thing would be to put it out on our own label.
Excellent. Yeah. So Andy will be touring England in May. He'll be in Germany in June. He has promised that he will be doing a solo tour. We don't know the dates yet, so we can't announce it yet. Right. Next year is the 40th anniversary of ERASURE, so I'm sure there'll be something really grand. We felt bad we didn't see the Neon Tour. I know the Neon Tour was going to be a huge world tour, but I guess COVID stopped that, right?
It did, yeah. We all got COVID on the very last night of the UK show, so we just had to pull the rug. Yeah.
And please send Vince our love,
I will.
our prayers for everything that he's gone through.
Thank you so much.
You know?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy Bell.